Coming up, our election coverage continues with a look at one judicial race in Bell County. And some voters across the region have some special issues to consider, many of them dealing with alcohol.
Plus, we could see some record high temperatures on Wednesday. Those details coming up as Mountain News First at 4 continues.
Welcome back to election headquarters as the countdown continues now to the polls closing at 6 o'clock. In Pike County, voters have been steadily pouring into different polling locations most of the day. WYMT's Buddy Forbes is live at the Pike County Courthouse where the votes will be counted to talk about some of the items on this year's ballot in that county. Buddy.
Yes, Steve. Now, while the ballots are pretty uniform in most parts of the area, some Pike County voters have a few different things when they go into the polls. Most of those related to alcohol sales. With the growing Kentucky Moonshine Trail, a couple of distilleries in the county are hoping to see a boost in tourism, with one distillery, Poly Hollow, hoping to expand its offerings, and a new distillery, Brothers Wright, opening its doors with plans to offer a tourism experience. So some voters in the Belfry area are seeing two different options to vote on whether those distilleries should be able to sell their products in-house at their respective distilleries. And not everyone is enticed by the idea.
I disapprove. It's not my belief that anything like that should be taking place. Very disturbing. I have relatives that are involved in that, cousins, but still I disapprove of it.
Now, this would not change the wet-dry status of those areas, just the different distilleries and allowing them to bring in more tourism to their spaces. And I've heard a lot from both sides of the aisle on this, but only time and tallying will tell because the polls are still open. In Pike County, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
All right, Buddy, thank you. Of course, we'll continue to follow that. In Bell County, voters are picking a judge in the 44th District Judicial Circuit. 3 candidates are in the running: Keith Nagel, Lisa Fugit, and Danny Smith. Earlier today, we talked to a voter at the Bell County Courthouse about what type of person they hope to see in that position.
I just hope that they will be fair. And I always asked if they could temper justice with a little bit of compassion. And the ones I had talked to said they certainly could do that.
WYMT's Audrey Hausberger will have an update on this race coming up at 6. In Harlan County, there is a special election. The 1st District Magistrate seat is on the ballot after longtime Magistrate Clark Sparky Middleton died back in January. Robert Leo Miller was appointed shortly after Middleton's death. His opponent, Paul Caldwell, was a former magistrate for 17 years. Both of them told us about their plans for the 1st District if they win today.
We need internet over on this side of the mountain and other areas of the county that's not got good internet. We've got some water lines that ain't been put in since I've been out. We intend to do that.
We've received $28 million coming to finish US 421 to the Virginia side. Also, I want to work on bringing some money to 421 on across the mountain, Pine Mountain and Bledsoe, that goes to Hazard.
Miller has been in this role for 10 months since his appointment in January, while Caldwell served in the role from 1993 to 2010. 2 candidates for 2 of the constitutional offices both call the same small Kentucky county home. Mark Metcalf is running for state treasurer and Jonathan Schell for agriculture commissioner. Both are Republicans from Garrett County. Watch parties for both are taking place tonight in downtown Lancaster. Our Phil Pendleton is there, and we'll hear more from him later tonight.
Well, our stretch of dry, also warm weather continues across the mountains on this election day. Let's take a live look from London to Hazard to Pikeville. A similar scene. We see some blue sky, but also some hazy conditions as those fires do continue. The temperatures are well above average. We should be in the lower 60s. Most of us right now in the middle to lower 70s at this hour, up to 76 over in London, 77 for Manchester, and 78 over in Harlan at this hour. So we are well above average. Up on the radar, we are dry dry, but we are watching out for a cold front, and that will continue to push off into our direction as we go into Thursday and Friday. But before then, some more warm, also dry and breezy weather is on the way for your Wednesday. We could see some record high temperatures on Wednesday in the upper 70s and lower 80s, and that fire danger will also continue for the middle of this week as we stay dry, also warm and breezy. We could see winds up to 15 or 20, possibly 25 miles per hour at times. But again, we are watching out for some increased rain chances by Thursday, also Friday. So some much needed showers on the way. Those details coming up in just a few minutes. Steve?
Cameron, thank you. Weather usually has an impact on voter turnout, especially in non-presidential elections. Let's take a look at last year's election turnout in parts of the Commonwealth. These numbers were provided by the State Board of Elections in some of our bigger counties. In Perry County, 38.7% of voters cast ballots in the county's 37 precincts last year. In Laurel County, 36.5% of voters cast ballots. In Pike County, 34% of voters went to the polls. Now, the Secretary of State predicted a 42% statewide turnout for today's election. Election leaders want people to report signs of misconduct that could include electioneering, fraud, and campaign violations. The Attorney General's office tracks all complaints. You can report problems to the election fraud hotline at 1-800-328-VOTE. And we understand there have been a few complaints from our area. We hope you'll join us later tonight as the results start coming in after the polls close at 6 o'clock. You can also download the WYMT News app for breaking news alerts and all the statewide and local results. Just scan that QR code you see there on your screen. Coming up on First at 4, we take you to Miami and look ahead to 2024 as some Republican candidates get ready for the next presidential debate.
Plus, we are tracking fire danger to continue into your Wednesday, your first alert forecast after this break.